All right, quick update first, because this is the headline you want straight away. Xavier Worthy looks like he avoided the worst-case outcome. Andy Reid told reporters that surgery is not being considered and short-term injured reserve doesn't seem likely at this point. That is the good news. The not-so-good part? Worthy is still week to week with a dislocated shoulder, and he won't be practicing this week alongside Jalen Royals. So it's a relief, but it's not the full all clear. Here's what matters to you as a fan. Avoiding surgery means the Chiefs can manage Worthy's rehab and try to bring him back within weeks instead of months. That keeps him in the rotation for the season rather than sidelined for an extended period. Andy's comments weren't just optimistic chatter, they set expectation management. Worthy is rehabbing, getting stronger every day, and the team will ramp him up carefully. That's smart medical prudence mixed with a little relief for the offense. On the roster front, the team made a small practical move. Hal Presley was added to the practice squad. To make room, the Chiefs terminated linebacker Cole Christensen's practice squad contract. This wasn't a dramatic, "we're replacing Worthy" maneuver. It reads as emergency depth insurance, not a signal of immediate long-term change. Presley knows the system from training camp and preseason, so he's the most sensible quick fix if an emergency snap is needed. In short, the Chiefs covered a checklist box without burning roster flexibility. Why you should breathe but stay cautious. Avoiding surgery is huge, but shoulders can be finicky for receivers. The brace helps stabilize it, and pain management and targeted strengthening will dictate how quickly he can return. The team will also balance practice reps, game reps, and protection plans. They don't want to rush him back and risk a setback. Before we move forward, I want your one-word reaction. Do you think Worthy returns this season? Type yes or no in the comments. Also, if you're watching this and want the channel to grow, do us a quick favor. Hit subscribe. We're pushing toward 5,000 subscribers, and every new sub helps get these updates in front of more Chiefs fans. Smash the like button if you want more injury and roster breakdowns like this. Now let's rewind and break down the collision, because when you hear collision in practice, your stomach drops, especially when the names attached are Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. Andy Reid explained the play like this. Worthy was running a route at one depth, but then had to correct his course. That slight adjustment put him right into Travis Kelce's path. At the same time, Derwin James, yes, the Pro Bowl safety, gave Worthy a shove. Combine that with the route correction, and suddenly Kelce and Worthy were on a collision course neither could avoid. Shoulder dislocated, rookie down, practice paused. Here's what stood out. Kelce immediately owned it. He spoke to reporters afterward and didn't sugarcoat it. He said flat out that the contact was on him, that he's got to be better about protecting his guys, and that he hates seeing a young player go down on his watch. That's leadership through accountability. He didn't point to the shove or the miscommunication. He put the weight on himself, even though the film shows it was really a fluke chain of events. From a football perspective, this is a timing misfire more than a bad play. Training camp and joint practices are about reps, rhythm, and spacing. When a young receiver like Worthy is still learning pro-level timing and depth discipline, and when defenders add physicality, the margin for error gets razor thin. One step off, one push, and disaster strikes. What should you expect next? The coaches will hammer spacing rules and route discipline in film study. Kelce and Worthy will get plenty of walk-through reps together once Worthy's healthy, building comfort in timing. And the team will lean on Worthy's resilience. This isn't about blame. It's about getting back on track. If you had to place responsibility on one factor, which is it? Kelce's angle, Worthy's adjustment, or just a fluke of football? Drop your one-word answer in the comments. Kelce, Worthy, or fluke. I'll be watching to see what Chiefs Kingdom thinks. All right, now the schedule doesn't wait. It's time to preview the Eagles. This matchup has statement game written all over it. especially given the circumstances. Headline on Philly's side. Jalen Carter is back. He was suspended for the preseason finale and fined for his actions, but now he's reinstated and motivated. That's not what you want to hear if you're the Chiefs' offensive line, particularly the left guard spot, which remains a bit of a revolving door. Carter plays angry, disruptive football, and lining him up against a shaky guard could create instant pressure right in Patrick Mahomes' lap. That is the matchup to watch. Now, layer on the Chiefs' current receiver situation. With Xavier Worthy sidelined week to week and Rashee Rice still out, the playbook has to bend. Instead of stretching the field with speed, you're leaning on possession routes, quick hitters, and timing-based concepts. That's fine. Mahomes can win with less, but it limits the explosive chunk play element that usually tilts a defense off balance. Against an Eagles front seven that thrives on collapsing the pocket, you really want defenses to respect deep threats. Right now, that's compromised. So where can the Chiefs find an edge? I see three practical lanes. First, exploit the second-string QB factor. The Eagles are rolling with backup personnel, and that shrinks their playbook. That should embolden Steve Spagnuolo to get aggressive with pressure packages, blitzes and simulated pressures to force uncomfortable throws. Make that quarterback beat you with throws he's not used to making. Second, attack in tempo. If you can't go vertical as much, speed up the game horizontally. Quick passes to Isaiah Pacheco in the flat, motion-based concepts to force linebackers into coverage, and intermediate routes for Travis Kelce. Tempo keeps the Eagles' front from substituting and wears down their big bodies. Third, win on special teams. Field position matters when offenses are limited. A return or two that flips the field can decide momentum in a tight, low-scoring affair. My projection, if the Chiefs keep turnovers at 0 and generate at least 2 sacks, they have a real shot. I'll say Chiefs 23, Eagles 17. A low-scoring, ugly win is plausible if the O-line buys Mahomes time and the defense pressures when it matters. Drop your score prediction in the comments. Keep it short. Chiefs XX, Eagles XX. I want to see if you're leaning into a defensive slugfest like I am, or if you think Mahomes finds a way to blow it open despite the injuries. Now, the side story that always bubbles up when receivers get hurt, Tyreek Hill. With Worthy week to week and Rice still sidelined, chatter has started swirling about whether Brett Veach should pick up the phone and call Miami. Here's the reality check. Hill is under contract with the Dolphins, but there are complications. He's facing an NFL review related to off-field allegations, and Miami has financial decisions ahead. That combination sparks speculation. Add Kansas City's depth concerns, and fans start daydreaming about a reunion. But let's be practical. The Chiefs aren't desperate. Yes, Worthy's injury hurts. Yes, Rice's absence is a blow. But Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can scheme an offense that leans on Kelce, Pacheco, and roll receivers until Worthy gets back. Signing or trading for a big-name wideout right now would likely cost significant draft capital and cap space. And Brett Veach is famously disciplined. The Worthy update actually lowers urgency. Avoiding surgery means he's expected back in weeks, not months. That makes splash trades unlikely. Instead, the smarter priorities are depth management, protection, and short yardage efficiency. So what should the Chiefs focus on practically? First, keep the practice squad pipeline stocked and ready. Second, shore up pass protection. The O-line must keep Mahomes upright against fierce fronts. Third, convert third and short and red zone chances without leaning on downfield explosives. Those 3 building blocks matter more than short-term drama. Final fan question. Would you welcome a Tyreek reunion? Keep it simple. Type yes or no in the comments. And if you want, add 1 sentence explaining why. Before we wrap up, one more favor. If you found this breakdown useful, from the Worthy update to Kelce's accountability, the Eagles preview, and the Hill rumors, hit subscribe now. We're pushing to 5,000 subscribers, and every sub gets us closer to bringing you more daily Chiefs coverage. Smash the like button too. It tells me you want deeper film room style breakdowns and roster updates. Quick recap. Worthy avoided surgery. Kelsey owned the collision. The Eagles pose a real front seven problem with Jalen Carter coming back. And the Tyreek chatter is background noise unless something major changes. This team still controls its destiny, but the next few weeks are about smart management, not panic.